In this weekly live stream video, we'll be getting into the latest in the POWERCITY ecosystem with my partner in crime, no other, Mr. Just Ask Jesse in the house. Here he is.
Hey, y'all. Hope y'all are having a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are.
Wherever you may be in the world. We've seen some green back in the Pulse chain ecosystem.
A little bit, yep.
A little pump. So better than seeing red. Obviously, the markets, crypto wide have been on the downturn recently. So we haven't seen the Bitcoin halving pump that we thought. What are your thoughts on that, Jesse?
You know, I don't know, because like we've got all that Bitcoin that's being released from that hack a while back. So what is it, billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin or something, right? And I don't know if some of the price action is already like baked in, or if, you know, you would think that those people get some Bitcoin and they're massively in profit. They're going to dump it, or maybe they'll hold. Who knows? You know, those are people who love crypto and they've been in the game since that hack. I have no idea, right? And they just want to keep their Bitcoin. Who knows? Or maybe they'll take profits and we'll see a massive dump, which will kind of pull everything else down. Nobody ever really knows. And markets do some weird things and often do the opposite of what people assume they might do.
They do. When everyone thinks it's going to go one way, it normally goes another. Obviously, people get into crypto to speculate, and we think that's a good way. Or that should be part of people can do whatever they want, but that is a part of crypto. But also we like stuff that gives yield, that you can, even in a bear market or when the markets are going sideways or down, you're still getting yield daily, whether that's yield farming, staking, liquidity providing, right?
Yeah. So I'm a fan of stablecoin yield, right? I've been shouting at the community my passion for being able to hold a stable coin that's always worth $1, and no matter what the market does, you can stake those things for some fees, right? It's worked out quite well for myself and those that may have followed suit with my techniques, for example, because had you been in stable coins when Pulse was 4 or 5x from now, and earning yield the entire time, your bag potentially could be 4 or 5 times bigger than it was before if you were to decide to buy this dip or wait a little more, maybe it dips more. Like, you're just massively up compared to other people, right? And I'm not suggesting that people sell or dump their Pulse or anything like that. You know, I've been in stable coins for a long time, even before Pulse Chain, and it's just, to me, it's a safe play. Things like Curve, Balancer, Liquidity, and of course we brought Flex and Earn protocol, and you've got liquid loans. These type of things allow you to have to earn some value in a really relatively safe fashion by just sitting in stable coins and pulling in some value while you're sitting in stable coins. I like it. It's safe. These things pay a way better yield than you'll find in any bank. And to me, it's one of the safest strategies you could do in crypto.
For sure. Well, let's segue in from that. Let's have a look at Flex, which is the latest POWERCITY dApp that we've released. And talk about some of the ways that obviously you can get yield, because obviously there's still much better APR than you would get in legacy finance and TradFi, whether you want to be a stability provider, staking, etc., right?
Yep. So the stability pool is where you would park some stable coins. One place you can park some stable coins for a yield, and it says 18.07%. All right. That's you know, maybe 4 or 5 times better than you'll find at a long-term CD at a bank. And unlike a CD where you have to lock it up for maybe a year at a time or 13 months at a time or whatever, there's no lockup periods on this. So you can park stable coins that you might have bought purchased on the market, or maybe you've minted them yourself using some of your HEX. You can always back out of those positions if you want, and go back and maybe you'd prefer to keep your HEX, so you pay back some of your loan or whatever. But maybe you've minted some HEXDC stable coins. Maybe you've purchased some HEXDC stable coins, and you just park them in the stability pool, and you're earning 18%. It's really a beautiful system, and it also is healthy for Pulse Chain in general to have stable coins that are always worth $1, always redeemable for $1. They're organic and natural to the community. If the community wants to mint them, they can. If they want to start burning some of them and get some of that HEX back, they're welcome to do that. There's not a whole lot of these HEXDC supply at the moment. There's 1.3 million. All right. A lot of that, 90. How much of that is in the stability pool? 84% of it.
84%.
Yep. The rest of it, most of that's in some liquidity pools. I'm not seeing that people are holding their stable coins liquid in their wallet doing nothing, right? Because that's like, what's the point, right? If you can park your stable coins in a stable coin pool, like on PHUX, and you can withdraw at any time, why would you not just park it in there and get a yield? Or why wouldn't you just park it in the stability pool and get a yield, right? Your keys, your coins, would you rather hold it liquid in your wallet, or would you rather park it in your own smart contract stability pool and earn a yield while you're holding them, right? So that's where the remainder of them are, is besides 84% of them, the rest are, majority of them are in liquidity pools.
Well, like you said, there's multiple ways here you can do stuff. You can put your stable coins in the stability pool. Actually, going back to something you said before, which I like, because some people were worried about getting liquidated or redeemed against, and you said, listen, you don't have to interact with the protocol by opening a vault. You can become a stability provider. You can become a staker. So there are other ways to interact with the protocol rather than just opening up a vault. Like you said, you could buy some HEXDC on the open market and then put it in the stability pool, right?
Yeah, let me give an example. So maybe you don't want to mint HEXDC. That's perfectly fine. Maybe you don't want a vault for whatever reason, right? You're worried about being liquidated, even though you know, like, it's very well known you can set your own liquidation point. You put your collateral health at where you want it to be, right? You could be as healthy as you want to be. You could be as unhealthy as you want to be. That choice is yours. There is always a risk of being redeemed against, which isn't always a bad thing. That's simply backing out of the system, right? People who have acquired some stable coins and they want $1 worth of HEX, right? And that will always go from the bottom up, like the most unhealthy vaults up, right? So you can place yourself wherever you want to be. But maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're sitting in USDC right now. Maybe you're sitting in DAI, okay? And you're not earning a yield. You can just go and swap those. Use something like Portal X, or use Bateus, or go to PHUX. Swap some of those for some HEXDC or PXDC. And then you have something that's worth the same thing that you're able to earn a yield with. You can drop it in a stability pool somewhere and start earning money off of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can become a stability pool provider. You can become a staker. Let's talk about staking a little bit for people that might not know about that.
Yeah. So the staking pool is where the fees flow. So whenever somebody takes a loan out, they're going to pay a small one-time fee. They're not going to pay an interest payment. There's no monthly obligation to pay, a recurring monthly payment. There's a one-time fee at the beginning to take a loan out, and it's usually 0.5%. It goes up, but not very often. So it's usually 0.5%. All right. Whenever there's a redemption, there's also a fee for the redeemer that he pays or she pays. Those fees are paid in stablecoin. and in the native coin that's collateralized. So to earn those fees, you would be in the staking pool. So, for example, you can purchase some Flex tokens, or you can earn them while you're in the stability pool. You go ahead and stake those, and now you're a fee earner. This is a community-owned protocol where you get to park and earn the fees. You go promote this thing. You get people to use it. You earn some fees. Everybody's happy. Everybody's earning some sort of yield. There's native stable coins out there in the system and Pulse Chain, and all the fees flow to the stakers. One of the staking positions is the core, which distributes its staking position out to all the stakers over in the core, which is our main initial platform we launched. You're welcome to go be a participant in the core and earn some fees, but you can also go straight to Flex or Earn protocol and earn fees in the staking pools. The choice is yours.
And also, there's another way to earn to farm yield, to do some yield farming, and that is to become a liquidity provider, right?
Yep.
And then take that LP token back into the Flex protocol and stake it here.
Yep. So if you decide to be an LP provider on PulseX, these combination of tokens are stakeable, right? So if you have Hex LP tokens, you can come back and stake them for 19.8%. Flex Hex LP tokens, 65%. And PulseX Earn tokens, yield is 31.7%. So there's an emission of Flex tokens that's quite good to LP providers, especially this Flex Hex LP staking. What's comparable to this? There are pools on PulseX that Richard's approved for you to be an LP staker over on PulseX, right? So we're talking things like Pulse paired to DAI, Pulse paired to USDC, incentive token paired to whatever. Okay, there's a number of pools. Maybe there's like 5 or 6 pools or something, right? And those pay a yield, and they pay a yield in incentive token. This is very similar, where you can LP these tokens, but instead of getting paid a yield in incentive token, you're getting paid a yield in Flex token. Flex token has a secondary mechanism of being able to be staked for the fees. Not to bash on incentive token, but you can't do much with it other than speculate. With Flex token or with Earn token, you can further stake them for the fees in the protocol.
So as we talked about earlier, there's also this bonus PulseX and Earn LP staking, which actually finished in the Earn protocol, but we brought it back. So just to remind anyone, 369 days from the launch of the protocol, you'll be able to still provide liquidity for PulseX and Earn, and then farm Flex tokens as well. And I've made a video on this already before, but it's very simple to do it. You can go to the Utilities tab, and then you can just follow these links here to add liquidity on PulseX for any of those 3 pairs. When you have your PLP, LP tokens, you come back to the Flex protocol, click on the LP staking tab here, and then stake the token in the correct part, basically.
That not to put out like secrets of like dev talk or anything, but that just made me just sparked my interest in doing something that I will go back and talk to the rest of the team about. Where it says PulseX Earn LP staking, I bet you we can scroll down there. I bet you we can put that same block over in the Earn protocol in the LP staking section over there, and just have it say, look, this pool pays out in Flex token. That way the people who are in protocol or in Earn protocol, like they have it readily available to themselves, and they see what it's doing. I think that's probably easily possible. We could just park that same user interface block over on the other protocol as well. I'll talk to the guys and see if that's possible.
That's a good call, just in case people are in earn and they can't sit, they don't jump into flex. Then it'd be good to have it on both. Also, talking about the core you touched on earlier, let's just give people a refresher on what the core does and why people might want to stake in here.
Yeah, so a percentage of all the fees from everything we launch will flow to the core. So we've got Portal X, Bridge Index Aggregator. There's fees for that thing, right? Those fees, first off, flow into Pulse, and they buy Pulse and they distribute it into here, into the core. We have Flex Protocol. Some of the fees from that flow into the core. Earn Protocol. Some of the fees from that flow into the core. Amplifier, which we're going to launch soon. Some of the fees from that will also flow into the core. So if you just want exposure to all sorts of fees, and these fees, we're talking things like Hex, PulseX, PXDC, HexDC, Pulse, these sort of tokens. If you just want exposure to those and you want to just earn those, you can come and stake the Watt token, and you'll be earning these tokens that you see in front of you right now.
Yeah. So all current live dApps are feeding into the core, and all dApps that are coming down the pipe and that will ever release will be feeding into the core, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And another maybe unknown thing for some people is if you provide Watt and PLS liquidity, you can take that PLP token back into the core and stake that with a 1.5 bonus.
Yep. So you would get essentially 1.5 times the fees as staking Watt directly. And that's your compensation for being an LP provider. Normally what you see in LP providers that have an incentive, they get emitted some sort of token, right? So we talked earlier about incentive token. You stake in a few pools over on PulseX, you might get emitted some incentive token. You stake in some pools on PHUX, you're going to be emitted PHUX token. You stake over in the stability pool, you're going to get emitted, an earn token or a flex token. There's always normally some sort of token that you're given as compensation for liquidity providing, because there is risk in liquidity providing. One token may go down in value, the other up. You're left with more of the one that went down, less of the one that went up. And like you have this thing called impermanent loss. So to compensate you for that, you're given a token that you're welcome to do whatever you want with. You can sell that. You can go stake it somewhere if it is stakeable, like Incentive's not, for example. Well, we thought long and hard, do we actually want another token? And what in the heck would we do with it? So, and we wanted something that could last forever without this additional, maybe even unnecessary token just going down in value all the time, because people would just dump it and extract the value. They're being compensated with it. So what we came up with was, instead of giving them a token, feeding them a token for compensation, they just get a bigger percentage of the fees. So if you're a liquidity provider, no, you're not going to get an additional token just fed to you that you can claim. But you will have 1.5 times the fees that you otherwise would have been able to have. You get a bigger percentage. And that way, you have liquidity providers that always have an incentive to go liquidity provide.
Yep. Also, in other news, the exchange MEXC listed PLS, and Portal X Swap is also using some of that liquidity, right?
Correct. So with MEXC and the foundation's hard work to make that happen, one of our partners, which has changed now, which we work very closely with, we talk to them at least weekly or so. We asked them to integrate. We asked them to integrate MEXC. Okay, there's some work behind the scenes. They integrated MEXC liquidity. which means that now Portal X, which uses Change Now, routes things for Pulse, or is able to route things through MEXC to obtain Pulse. Now, some jurisdictions can't go directly to MEXC. It's a leverage trading platform, which is illegal for some people to use because in some jurisdictions, you're not allowed to use leverage trading platforms. But there's a caveat to that. It's perfectly acceptable to access that liquidity through other means, through things like Portal X. They interact directly with the contracts that they hold. So if you wanted to swap into Pulse and you have, ETH, or you have some AVAX token, you have Base or whatever you have, and you're in Portal X, it may give you the option via the Change Now that you're gonna go straight through MEXC, and we're accessing that liquidity, which means nobody's banned because we have no jurisdictional bans. Portal X is simply an aggregator. It routes, it displays routes for you, and you select the routes you want to take, and there's literally no jurisdictional ban.
So we're using that. There's more liquidity, easy to get into Pulse, basically.
Absolutely. And every time another exchange or another method of coming into Pulse comes out, we're going to work with those people and see if at all possible we can access that liquidity. We do it every single time there's a new route into Pulse Chain. Richard's Bridge is on Portal X.
Yep.
You can interact directly with the official bridge on there. You can interact through the Change Now sources and MEXC, and through all the other blockchains where there's like dozens and dozens of routes in and out. There's literally hundreds, thousands of directions you can go using Portal X. Pulse Chain has like 2 or maybe 3. That will get better over time, hopefully. And as each method into Pulse Chain comes about, we'll do everything we can to add that into the system so it's easy for people to come into Pulse Chain. We need Pulse Chain to be as easy as possible for people. It's quite hard right now. We're trying to make this easy. You can go to Portal X, bam, you're in Pulse Chain. It's not complicated. You can't go directly from an exchange to Pulse Chain yet. Even MEXC is not an onboarding exchange. It's not like Coinbase, where you can wire in funds and you can withdraw funds to your bank and stuff. It's not that type of exchange. It's a leverage platform. So maybe someday there'll be like a crypto.com or a Coinbase or something that works with Pulse. But until that happens, we have to bust and grind to find routes in the Pulse Chain. It's not easy, but we're going to make it happen every time there's a new route.
Good to know. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up there. Jesse, anything else you want to say before we finish this one today?
I think that's it. I hope everyone has a great week. We like to come on here and just let people know we're still alive. We're still working. There's still things coming out in the future. We still have Amplifier. We still have Pixel Park. We still have some other things that we're launching. And these things take time. You have a lot to play with in the meanwhile. But just stay tuned, because like I've always said from the beginning, we're here, we're in Pulse Chain, and we're not going to stop building.
Fantastic way to sign out. Thanks, Jesse. And guys, if you want to check out any of our live dApps, you can check below and find the links in the description box. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.